Gold, it is claimed, is now just another commodity. Unlike most commodities, however, very little gold is consumed. That's the point I was making earlier. It's not just another commodity. It's actually pretty useless, except as a store of wealth and a replacement for barter. So those who say gold now is just another commodity, we've got paper for money, right? Here's what he says at the end of this paragraph. Gold is not only a commodity. Gold is money. To say it's no longer money, we've got paper money, is just ignorance. Just ignorance. Money shorn of gold is an ordinary commodity, paper. So, it's not true that gold has become an ordinary commodity and paper is money. No. Paper is still paper, gold is still money, and all the crap going on in our economies around the world today, to the contrary, notwithstanding. Quote, children once were taught that money does not grow on trees, that one cannot consume without first producing, that one cannot have his cake and eat it too. That ethic is consistent with gold money, but today's national monies have no fixed value. Pause there. If you can change the value of your money by law, isn't that like making money grow on trees? Of course you can't change the value of your money by law, but they do, don't they? They actually just make a law or make a decision, the lawmakers make a decision to print X amount of money, and they don't change the value upward. They can only change it downward. They could change the value of the money upward if they were working with coin, and they said from now on, instead of 70% gold, our coins are going to be 80% or whatever. You could change it upward that way, but the only way without specie is to change it downwards. And how about the part about it growing on trees, huh? Paper's made of wood pulp, which is a tree. That's brilliant. The issuers of, quote again, the issuers of fiat currency are driven by expedience and the funding needs of government. Pause there. They're not concerned with providing money to an economy. They're concerned with providing money to a government to spend in an economy. That's a very, very different thing. Originally, people who were trying to come up with a system of money were doing it so that the economy would have a sound basis to function. Nowadays it's a very different attitude. They say, how can we get the government to have control of the money supply, not how can we have a stable money supply for people to trade and use. Continuing quote. Central bankers and national treasury bureaucrats have set themselves up as latter-day philosopher kings, reference to Plato, in the belief not only that their own wisdom is supreme, but also in effect that money does grow on trees, that wealth can somehow be printed. Amidst the dross of fiat monies, however, only gold retains its value. Over the past quarter century, the paper dollar has lost more than 3/4 of its purchasing power, while that of gold has been preserved, flat, even. Indeed, the purchasing power of gold has been remarkably stable for centuries. Gold's value still is widely recognized in today's markets. Now this is, and pause for a second, that is remarkable for gold to be useful as a medium of exchange even when all governments on the planet have shorn their currencies of a link to gold. Still, gold is valuable. Anyone who doesn't think that gold is a useful basis for money has several issues, honesty being one of the first. Quote, whatever economists or governments say about gold, mankind still mines it, insures it, trades it, and above all, stores it as well as in centuries past. This alone is an instructive fact about gold's ageless importance. Central banking, essentially, is a form of central planning applied to the narrow but ubiquitous precincts of money and banking. I pause there. It is distressing, ladies and gentlemen, to consider that the Russian Revolution was in 1917, and their whole thing collapsed 75 years after it started. And before Russia got communism, before the Tsars lost power, America established central planning in its money with the Federal Reserve. Now, we have, in a certain sense, really done the communists one better in central planning, because we've actually been able to establish central planning and maintain that system throughout the entire period of experimentation with Soviet communism in Russia. And we are still in a situation of central planning, coming up on 100 years here in a couple years. And Russia came and went inside that time. Central planning is bogus, it's bunk. And the fact that this one small sliver of our economy, well, that, I don't know what's the metaphor, it's like an umbrella over our entire economy, because it's a very thin layer of the economy. Just central banking is all that's planned. We're not planning how many stoves are being made or how much natural gas is produced. We're only planning how much money can be produced by dictating the printing of money and the interest rate. So central planning has survived in the United States whilst Russia's centrally planned system came and went. Scary, interesting, I don't know. Bizarre. Okay. Central banking is a hopeless, futile task, and its record has been very poor. No national money today serves as a reliable numeraire, and no central bank can anticipate the money and credit needs of an increasingly complex marketplace. Only a system of gold-based money can do that. If men wish to throw off central planning, ladies and gentlemen, put this in your pocket. If you want to throw off central planning, they will have to do so by throwing off central banking and fiat paper money. They'll have to go back to a diversified banking system and specie as the basis of money. There's no other way about it. It's a historical fact. Look up the history of money and that's what you'll find. Every time tyranny and government control comes in the picture, gold and specie go out or they get hopelessly debased. Quote, gold money is inextricably linked with human freedom. Whenever men were free to choose over the centuries, they settled on gold as money, oftentimes with silver as part of it. Whenever human freedom has been threatened, gold money has been attacked. That has been the pattern for most of this century, an age of nationalism, dictatorships, and the welfare state. Gold money is incompatible with statism and its extensions, such as central banking. Gold is the money that accompanies the rule of law and the sanctity of contract. And I pause there. That's an interesting thought, because I believe it's Ron Paul who said that he would advocate going back to a gold-based dollar before doing away with the Fed. Maybe not. Maybe he said we should just do away with the damn Fed. But I've heard it said that we'd have to put our money back on a gold base at some point and then do away with the Fed. And here it's asserting the opposite of that. That central banking is not compatible with gold money. And we did try it with gold money for a long time. But we had to keep, we had central banking in 1913. Gold was illegalized in the 1930s. It was again made illegal to trade or hold under Nixon in the 70s. So, it's just a constant push and pull. The government having that power, and there's always that damn little irritant of gold going around, taking away the government's power and ability to dictate. And they always want to do away with possession of gold. That's their number one concern when the government tries to control money. So, let's finish up here with this quote. Gold is the money that accompanies the rule of law and the sanctity of contract. If free markets are to be the basis on which humanity allocates resources, gold again will have to be the indispensable foundation of money. That's the end of that chapter, and that's the end of the videos on that subject. Gold for president. No, gold for money.